So you've just jumped into Heroscape, and you're exploring the fantastic new Age of Annihilation designs from the 2024 relaunch. Or maybe you've been a fan since the original Rise of the Valkyrie set came out in the early 2000s, and now you're ready to ride that nostalgia high and experience one of the best tabletop games ever made. Maybe you've even found a local scene that runs tournaments, but your skills might be a little rusty. There's only one way to get better at Heroscape, besides watching my strategy video series Heroscape Stratagems, and that's to just play more Heroscape. Experience is the best teacher, and as much as I love getting together a big group of friends for a fun game, that doesn't really simulate the tournament experience, but you can do that easily online. That's right, OnlineScape is a big scene with multiple simultaneous seasons running and active players always looking for games. I'm going to give you a rundown on how to play OnlineScape that's so easy and fast you can get started in under 60 seconds with no downloads, plus how to find online opponents and tournaments. Let's get started. First, open up any browser and navigate to heroscape.org. This website is the premier source for competitive Heroscape. Sorry, Battle Network. There are tons of resources on here, and I encourage you to explore all of them, but to get a game of online Heroscape going, navigate to the Play tab, select your map from the dropdown, and click Generate Game Link, and voila, a new tab will open with a top-down image of your Heroscape board. If you're playing against a friend, copy the link in the browser or the text back on heroscape.org and send it to them. Keep this tab open, we'll need it in a second. Online Heroscape or OHS boards work like you're looking exactly straight down on a Heroscape board. Height is numbered on the tiles so that you can calculate movement, and most modern maps have nice shading to easily distinguish between height levels. On the left side of the map is the OHS application. Type the username you'd like to use to play and log in. Let's grab your figures. Navigate back to the Play tab, and under your game string, click on the Figures and Maps link. This will take you to a shared Google Drive folder with top-downs of every single classic figure ever released, along with up-to-date Valhalla Customs figures. Current Renegade figures are stored in their own separate file, and I will link that in the description below, and they're generally updated as the figures become available to the public. Select the figure or figures you'd like to play with, copy with Ctrl+C, then go back to your map and hit Ctrl+V to paste them in. The map is a Google drawing, which means you'll be able to virtually move figures by just dragging them around the board. For now, I'll drag my figures into my start zone, marked with these colored dots. Whichever side I choose, I'll head up to the appropriately colored wound box and add in any heroes. This is where you'll manually keep track of damage done to army cards, just like you would in a physical game. Set glyphs by dragging a text box out and typing in the glyphs you want. In this case, I'll put Wannick and Dagmar. For online tournaments, these maps will have the glyphs preset for you, but for a casual game, you can make them whatever you'd like or not use them at all. Once your opponent has logged in and placed their figures, you are ready to set order markers and roll for initiative. I'll be playing against a version of myself from an alternate universe, so we'll only be able to communicate via text chat in the app, but I highly recommend playing on voice chat. This is most often done over Discord now, more on that at the end of the video. It makes the experience of playing much easier and more like in a real game. Plus, due to the OHS app dependent on Heroscape servers, the OHS app can occasionally lag. However, in my experience, at least one player is always able to see the activities such as dice rolls in real time, and they can just read them out to you until the app refreshes. Set order markers by opening up the Order Marker Management option. Input your order markers where you'd like to place them for the upcoming round. Your 1, 2, 3, and X. If you're playing against figures that have order marker removing abilities, such as if you're like spiders, check this box to add random characters to the end of the order markers. We'll see why in a second. When you hit Submit Order Markers, they will show up in the chat as set. When both you and your opponent have placed, press the new button that popped up when you submitted, the Roll Initiative and Reveal Order Marker button. Now don't worry, it won't actually reveal your order markers, only the distribution. So while I know where my order markers are and in what order, my opponent only knows how many order markers are on each card. In this case, I have 3 order markers on 4th Mass and 1 order marker on Raylan. You'll notice the screen has now changed. The winner of the initiative reveals their order marker 1 using the new buttons in the order marker management area. This will now show up in the chat, revealing it to any other players or spectators. Let's take a turn. Move your figures by clicking and dragging them onto the desired hex on the map. I usually have separate tabs open with the cards visible, or for live tournaments where I run the same army, I have the physical cards on my desk in front of me. But if you ever forget a unit's stats or abilities, press Ctrl-Alt-Y to bring up the alternate text associated with each figure, and you can read them from there. In this case, my 4th Mass have 5 move, so I'm able to move them around from there. If you move figures and want to reposition them, or if you need to undo anything for any reason, hit Ctrl-Z to undo any actions you took in the drawing. Now we're ready to attack. Open up the Dice Tools dropdown. Here you'll find buttons that correspond with the number of dice rolled for attack and defense. The colors imitate the original red and blue dice from the first edition from Rise of the Valkyrie, so red is only for attacking and blue is only for defending. When I make an attack, the chat will read how many symbols I rolled for how many dice, and it will make a similar announcement when my opponent rolls defense. If you ever need a reason to see the number of blanks you would roll, such as using the Valkyrie General's abilities, check this box, and the game will report the number of attack or defense symbols and how many Valkyrie General symbols you rolled. Let your opponent know who is attacking and defending by clicking on the figures while holding down Control, and do that for each new attack, although in this instance, all of my figures only have one target. I'll continue to attack my opponent, attempting to deal wounds, which you record in the wound box. If you have any D20 abilities, click the Roll 20-sided die button to do it. This is where voice chat comes in handy, otherwise make sure to announce your actions and why in the chat. Certain roles have preset options in this chat dropdown, such as rolling for Wannick or asking your opponent to roll a leaving engagement attack. The Done button is a very common one for out-of-turn actions or placing figures, and my personal favorite. To place order markers for the next round, bring up the OM form by clicking this small text underneath the order marker reveal buttons, and you're ready to continue. Here are a few tips and tricks you might need. Recolor your identical figures that need to be kept track of by dropping down this format option, then just add their color in the wound box. You can check your stats and your opponent's stats in the bottom dropdown to see how well, or poorly, you rolled this game. If you need to leave a game, that's fine. You can always access it again as long as you have the link. If you log in as the same username, it will continue to update your stats. Most players don't delete figures from the board. It's more polite to place them to the side to easily keep track as you would during a real-life game. When copying in figures, after pasting in a squad, move them off to the side, make sure they are all still selected and recopy them with Ctrl+C, then add in as many squads as you need by pressing Ctrl+V to get an endless army. You can check line of sight by using the line tool and drawing between a figure's line of sight point and the target's hit zone. Adjust the size of the map using this zoom or the app using this zoom as needed to make the game more easily viewable or the app more easily readable. And that's how to play Heroscape Online. If you want to play the best of the best, there are many leagues and single-day tournaments held through the OHS app. The oldest one is, well, OHS, which stands for Online Heroscape Seasons and is what the app was built for. OHS is run through the forums, but there are many more tournaments run through Heroscape.org. You don't need an account on Heroscape.org to play a game with a friend, which is great, but if you want to sign up for a tournament, you will have to create an account. When you do, there will be a button that says Register, and once you're in, you can click the button that says Submit Build to submit your army before any tournament starts. This is also the same for any live events you might play. When signups close and the tournament starts, your matchups will be generated just like in a physical tournament, only this time there will be a link next to your matchups. You and your opponent will have time to schedule your game, and then you can hop in the pre-made link to start your game. Currently, there are two main online leagues run through Heroscape.org, Online Scape Tournaments and Random Draft League. Each league, including OHS, has a certain amount of time for you to play your game, usually 1 to 2 weeks depending on the league. You and your opponent will have time to schedule your game whenever is the most convenient for you, and at the end of the allotted time period, the next round will start. There are also single-day tournaments, Sir Heroscape's Champion Circle League, OST special events, or my very own Renegade Games Presents. These operate very similar to in-person local events, where you sit down for an afternoon, having a timed round, usually about an hour, and play your opponent until the time is up and then move on to your next round until the tournament is finished in one shot. To keep track of these online tournaments and when they start, check out the online events thread on the forums, or more importantly, join the Discords. The main Heroscapers Discord contains all of the information for OHS, and to participate in CCL, OST, RDL, you need to join the specific servers for those, and I will link all of those down in the description below. All of the information for ScapeCon War League, which is an online team league, is held exclusively on that Discord server, so I will link that in the description below as well. It only comes around once a year, so I hope to see you there when it comes around next year because it is a ton of fun. My events are run through a special section in the OST Discord, so you should definitely hop in there, check it out, and start playing games. I average between 1 to 3 competitive online Heroscape games a week between all of the leagues I'm in and the single day events that happen to pop up. This is hands down the best way to improve at the game, because online Heroscape is the most competitive field out there because it aggregates all of the best players from around the country and even around the world. Playing online made a huge difference in my skill, and you can see that in my first time ScapeCon results. I love watching new players come into online Scape and make huge strides in their Scape abilities, so hop in whenever you're ready. I made this video specifically because with Heroscape.org, any other tutorials might feel a little clunky or outdated. If you want to get a practice game in, there's an OHS app thread in the main Heroscapers Discord where people are more than happy to show you the ropes. Everyone in this community is so welcoming and friendly, and I know it can be a bit overwhelming for a new player to come in and try and learn this online system, so hopefully this tutorial gets you on the path to dominating games in the cyberspace. Oh, and the best part I didn't even mention, you're not limited by your collection. You can literally play anything you want. 5,000 Death Reavers!